but I credit in part where I am today in business because of the opportunity that she gave me 4 years ago. What's up, YouTube family? Gerald Greenlee here with Clean Green Lawn Service in beautiful South GA, man. Hope y'all having a good day, guys and gals. Leaves, man. We're not doing that with them though. We're just getting them out the way. Look at that Z-Man, straw Boston. Huh? Look at that boy. Got it looking good, don't he? He even strawed the top of the plant. There you go, look at him. Anyway, y'all seen this property before. Been over here several times. A regular customer we take care of about twice a year. We only do, this is one of the few properties that we only do landscape stuff on. And if I remember before this video's over, I will explain to you why for this customer we do landscape only. Part of it's this right here. You see this big old yard? Could be ours one day, you know. They could get to a point where say, hey man, we tired of cutting this grass, you know. That's part of it, but that's not the main reason. All right, so I'm gonna set you up and let you get a little time lapse of Z-Man here, and I'm way down there trimming. I'm trimming ahead of him. He's coming behind me putting straw down. So here we go. There's Z. All right, I ain't gonna show y'all the whole thing. Just a little taste of it here, a little taste of my mistake. So we got all this, all that goes all down the side, around the back, spot out back, all this up here. So we've been here about 3 hours, and about to go get a check, man. Go get a check. Here we go. All right, we are just dropped Z-Man off. We went to Arby's and got something to eat. I know, imagine that, right? I ate at Arby's about much as I eat at Hog and Bones. That's my work stop. Hard to beat that old roast beef sandwich to me. You know, if you get just a regular roast beef, classic, and you know, the curly fries and a drink, it ain't too much food, but it's enough if you just get the regular small size one. Which actually I have a band card. Our band around here does these cards where you get discounts and different things at different places. At Arby's, you get a free upsize. So if you order a small, you get a medium. If you order a medium, you get a large. But anyway, back to, I told you I was going to share with you about this customer, the property y'all just seen. One of the reasons why I keep it up, even though we don't cut her grass, which is not something, I do some one-off stuff if we're slow and, you know, this time of year maybe looking for something to do, and, you know, the guys want to get a few hours, especially on the weekend or something. You know, we may do one-offs, but we don't normally maintain them on a regular basis. Why do we do hers? Well, if y'all been following the channel for a while, you know there was a small property out on the lake that I used to do. Down the front of the property had probably 400 feet of hedges, and hedges around the house, and of course we maintained the lawn, all that kind of stuff. So back in 2019, I started a business. I bought everything in 2018, and I mostly just volunteered, you know, cutting yards for people that year. I might have had one or two, you know, that I got paid a few dollars for or whatever, but mostly it was going, people had surgery, people were in the hospital, maybe somebody was you know, elderly, not able to, whatever. I just kind of cut. So really, I bought the stuff knowing that business would come. I went out and spent, oh man, I think I invested about $6,000. That Raptor cost about $4,500, the Hustler Raptor SD. And then I spent about another $1,500 on trimmers and gas cans and some little racks to put on the little old trailer I had. I redid the trailer. You know, and I didn't have any customers, but I knew they would come. And cutting grass is something I always wanted to, you know, I'd wanted to do for years. And so I was cutting some yards, you know, $45, $35. I think the most I had ever got at that point was about $60 or $65 for a yard, right? That's the kind of business I had. Chucking the truck, nothing wrong with that. Didn't have a business license yet, didn't have any insurance, didn't have any of that kind of stuff, you know, just making a dollar here or there, right? And this lady called me, and she had this big property at the lake, and she wanted all those hedges trimmed, and she wanted pine straw put down. And I had never trimmed hedges before in my life, really. I had just bought a hedge trimmer like a couple of months before that. And I went to one lady's house who's in the church, and her hedges was a little overgrown, and I practiced on them. And I got them cut back. So this lady wants me, I never put pine straw down in my life. Johnny from Blades of Grass, I'd watched him do pine straw, right? And I said, hey, you just put it down on the ground and you tuck it under, you know, with a blower. And so this lady calls me and says, hey, I want all this stuff done. And they were out there cutting down trees at the time. And so I go over and I look at it, and I go back to my office, and I got all these measurements, and I don't know how to price hedges. I don't know how to price pine straw. I don't know how to do any of this stuff, right? Crazy. And so I come up with a price, and I'm like, oh, there's no way she's gonna pay that. She ain't gonna pay that. That's too much money, you know, because I'm thinking small. I've been doing $35, $45 yards, and now I'm about to give somebody a price that's like $1,100 or $1,200. Like, this was, I mean, this was just so multiplied beyond anything I'd ever done in terms of lawn and landscape. I didn't even really know how much straw it was going to take. You know, I go out there and I try to measure all these beds. You know how it is. If you do pine straw, if you've been doing it a while, you'll look at a house now and go, that's 25 bales. And you'll be pretty close, right? Because a lot of times you might do pine straw where you never done it, and you may tell the customer, hey, that's 25 bales plus or minus 5. You know, it's $9 a bale installed or whatever. Okay. And the thing, and look, so one of the reasons on this channel that I give you real numbers is because what I found is, and I know it's different in every market. I know somebody in Atlanta, I can't use numbers somebody in Atlanta or San Francisco's using. But I looked around and I was like, man, what are people charging to put pine straw in, you know? And like, no videos, nobody would give you a price. They would just show you, hey, I put it down and I tuck it under and this, that, and the other. And I remember watching a video from somebody about hedges, and they said on a small one I charge $3, a medium one $5, a large one, you know, $8, and then like a big one, you know, $10 or $12, whatever. And so I was putting all this stuff together. And so anyway, not to make this a 30-minute video, I finally came up with a price, and I said, you know what? I ain't got nothing to lose. She can either do it or not do it. So I gave her the price, and again, I think it was like $1,100 or $1,200, which wasn't enough, by the way. You know, but I made money. I mean, when it was all said and done, I averaged like, you know, probably $30 an hour. Okay, and that's not all. That's doing is using a hedge trimmer, and you know, basically a hedge trimmer and putting straw down, and you know, loading my trailer up and hauling stuff off. So I didn't have a ton of overhead, and I ended up making like $35 an hour, something like that. But here's what it did. That lady was so extremely impressed with what I'd done. Mind you, no experience in what she had asked me to do. She was so impressed because I took time to make sure things were right. Now, I said I made $35 an hour. If I went and did that same job again, I'd probably do it in, you know, it'd probably, you know, I think it took me 20 hours or something like that. And man hours. And, you know, I probably do it, you know, in 14 now or 12, you know, because again, I got to get around this truck. He's about to drive me crazy. And so she was very complimentary of the work we did. And her husband, he come out there and told me, he said, you know something? He said, if you wanted to do this for a living, you can make all the money you wanted to make. And I just kind of looked at him. And here again, I'm thinking, man, I ain't even got no experience, you know, right? And but it wasn't the job I did. It was the way I interacted with him. He said, first of all, he said, out of all the work we've had done out here, roofing work, construction work, tree work, he said, out of everything we've done, you're the only contractor that showed up when you said you was going to, showed back up to do the job when you said you were going to, and did for us exactly what you told us you were going to do for what you told us you were going to do it for. In other words, what he was saying is, just because you are dependable, just because, you know, you do what you say you're going to do, you can run a business. And so he was basing that off of not skill set, but off of principle. So I ended up getting the property and maintained it on a regular basis until they sold it a couple of years later. Now, I said all that to say this. I will always take care of that lady. She doesn't even ask for quotes. Since I did that job, she doesn't even ask for quotes anymore. Since that day, she's just said, hey, this is what I need done. And when I get done, I tell her how much it is. And she writes out a check. In fact, the first couple of times, she knew that I was, she said, Gerald, are you sure that's enough? I said, yes, ma'am, it's enough. I was really thinking, I wish I'd have said more now. I'll always take care of her because she gave me an opportunity. Now, if it hadn't been her, maybe it would have been somebody else. But I credit, in part, where I am today in business because of the opportunity that she gave me 4 years ago. She gave me an opportunity to do something bigger than I had ever done, something that would make more money than I mean, like, I'm making $50 a yard, right? What she gave me was like 25 times what I'm making a yard, or 20 times, something, a little over 20 times, 22 times what I'm making a yard in one job. And I went out and started one afternoon, and worked on it the whole next day. That's the first time that 002 ever worked with me, because I'm out here cutting and all this stuff is on the ground, and I sent his mama a message and I said, hey, you know, I didn't call him 002 then, but I said, you know, you think 002 might want to work? And she's like, yeah. And I told her where I was at, and she brought him out there and dropped him off. And he picked up all the limbs while I trimmed. And then when I started doing pine straw, because I didn't really know how to do pine straw, you know, I mean, I was figuring it out as I went. I just had him toting bales to me. He'd bring me the bales, go to the shed, bring the bales, go to the shed, bring the bales. And that's how we did it, man. That's how we did it. And so from her, I learned, you know what, I can quote big projects. And so then when projects like the bank came along and they wanted their landscape done, they wanted mulch done, and all that stuff, and the grass cut, and to be, you know, on a year-round. So I said, heck yeah, I bid big jobs before now. I can do this. Same thing. The college came around, right? So she gave me confidence in my ability to be able to handle a big job, right? So that's kind of the story there. Just kind of a personal testimony. I'm pretty sure she doesn't watch YouTube, but I may actually send her a link to this. If she wants to take time to watch it, she can. So, you know, just a super good lady, and has really been an encouragement to me in terms of business, for sure. So, anyway, yeah. I'm fixing to get to the house. I know I done made this thing long enough now. Let me see if I can see the time on here. Oh yeah, we had almost 14 minutes just on this segment. So anyway, hey, I do appreciate you taking time to watch the video. And my prayer for you is always the same, that the Lord might richly bless you, and that you might see all of your blessings as from Him. Hope you have a great, great day.